members of the committee. As pointed out, I am a resident of Station Road myself, and this application I strongly oppose to for several reasons. There would be a severe loss in green space within the Portchester area. Currently there isn't a lot in there anyway. Generally you get a few playing fields for the children, which are either sited at the castle or lower down in Wicker. But actually around the town precinct area you don't have many green spaces left, and this is one that's frequently used by sometimes children, dog walkers, all sorts of people go there to use that piece of land. The proposed development would have a detrimental impact in the area, and I believe that it is an overdevelopment of this site. There would be quite a loss of privacy to a lot of properties surrounding it. I appreciate, of course, what's been said today with where it's facing, photographs from properties rear, but standing in my garden today, I could see Merjen Engineering property myself, and of course with windows at the rear of that, they would probably be able to see in my property in my garden, and that's a loss of privacy to myself. The car parking arrangement in the initial application stated for 19 spaces, 2 of which to be disabled. However, this has now been reduced to 17. There's already a lack of parking around the area by commuters who use the train station, and also fellow residents who live down the Leeway, and those who can't fit on their own driveways, potentially if they have visitors. Of course, with this being an aged person's property, there will be health visitors that go there as well. So there may be problems with potential parking issues there. The actual junction that it's on is quite dangerous, as you can see from the photographs that were displayed with lorries and stuff parking there. It's actually quite difficult sometimes to navigate your way around them, and you have to sometimes come to quite a stop when the traffic builds up, because it is on a major route. These are just some of the issues that concern myself as a resident, and have been highlighted in my 2 objections to this proposal. Within about half a mile radius of this proposed development, there are other properties that are of a similar purpose to what has been applied for. Just to name a few, the Ashton Court, the New Priory Gardens are also within the area. As I say, I'm very opposed to this development, and I think it's a severe loss of green site and overdevelopment of the site, unfortunately. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Oliver. Mr. Tottenham, so
Chairman, thank you for allowing me to speak in favour of my client's proposal and the officer's recommendation. Merjen Engineering is a B2 general industrial use in a dilapidated building that stands beside Conifers, which is a 2-storey house. Deliveries and collections by large commercial vehicles to Merjen's dropped curb forecourt have been hampered for decades, and a new future for the site is needed. The open area to the southwest is not shown to be an existing open space on Inset 12 of LPP2. On the contrary, it's proposed to be housing for older persons. Just 3 sites are nominated, and neither of the others have yet been initiated. Fareham population of elderly folk continues to grow, and it's a key objective of this council to provide them with a range of housing options. The older persons housing strategy for Fareham promised at 424 the core strategy did not materialise, so the initiative has necessarily passed to the private sector. Core strategy policy CS15 states that this council will direct development to locations with sustainable transport options and access to local services, and ensure that the scale and density of the proposal makes efficient use of land. At least 60 dwellings per hectare within areas of high multimodal transport accessibility, good access to a range of social, environmental and economic infrastructure, and account taken of local character. Housing site H20 enjoys exceptional access to public transport, services and facilities. The majority of development in this vicinity is 2 stories, but Garden Court to the east of Station Road is partly 3 stories in height. Chairman, your council is obliged to determine planning applications in accordance with the development plan unless material considerations indicate otherwise. The principle of this development is set by policy DSP 42 of the adopted LPP2. The details comply with the brief set down for housing site H20, and none of the technical consultees has raised objection. In my submission, none of the objectors to the revised proposal has raised an issue that would provide a sustainable basis for withholding consent. The members are requested to accept the officer's recommendation and grant permission. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn. Councillor Cummings, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The site in question is incorporated in the local plan for development, and therefore we're not here to debate the rights or wrongs of the development of the site. The question before the committee is the planning application in front of us sensible, appropriate for the site, taking into account the location, appearance and the impact the development will have on the locality which it sits. Speaking to residents with regard to the planning application, one will find overwhelmingly the residents are not impressed with this proposal, which comes as no surprise if one reads the resident submissions to the council. The residents I've talked to consider the application to be far from sensible or appropriate. We'd like the committee to look closely at the position of the entrance to the development in relation to the junction of Station Road and the A27. Hampshire is saying there is no overriding safety issues. The residents who witness the traffic flow 7 days a week believe there is. No disrespect to Hampshire, but after spending some time viewing the traffic flows myself, I fully support the residents' view that an entrance into that development at that point would create safety issues and potential to increase further traffic congestion. Affordable homes. I understand there's been no discussion on any level between the developer and Fairbrother Council on land ownership and the purchase of that land. Could the IRC office work if that is the case? The reason I ask, are affordable homes going to be viable on that site? Unless the cost of purchasing that land is known either by the council, if we were to purchase the small factory site, or in case of Merjen Engineering, purchasing the site from FBC, who are the majority landowner, surely the affordable home content is questionable. Without landowners talking to each other, how do we know the viability of that site to bring forward affordable homes? The viability of affordable homes within any given site is usually the first to go if costs rise above projections. One would have thought there would have been some discussions at some level between the 2 landowners before submitting the application. I do recognise, although it may sound bizarre, the developer has no duty to do so. Station Road. I'm not lost with those who say there's no traffic implication with regards to Station Road and the traffic flows, and it will have no impact on entering or leaving that complex. Local residents are bewildered how traffic flows have been completely dismissed. I asked members to look at the layout of Station Road. If you were to start at the bridge, like the traffic lights there, which has many scars from many accidents passing through it, we can see there is room for 2 parked stationary vehicles before we get to a keep clear box. After that is a further room for a further 1 vehicle before we come to another keep clear box, straddling the junctions of Station Road and Crossways. Only 3 stationary vehicles north of Crossways Junction can wait at those lights, waiting passage through the bridge. The bulk of the traffic waiting through that bridge, travelling northwards, one will find at the south of the Crossways Junction. Traffic readily builds up to the south of the Crossways Junction, down to the A27. It is not uncommon to find it on the A27 itself in busy periods. Station Road does have traffic issues, and they're there for all to see. The position of the entrance to the development is at the end of the curvature of the road, as one can see, leading to Station Road from the A27. The position is far from ideal, and many residents believe this is to be unsafe and an accident waiting to happen. The turn circle within the complex only allows the smallest size vehicle to be able to access the complex in forward gear, then able to exit in the forward direction. The turning space is less than double the width, double the length of a car parking space. With these vehicles, whether private, delivery or emergency, cannot be considered to be small, and in my opinion, the design of that reversing arrangement cannot be acceptable. The turning circle itself will be in all probability be used for parking, and I believe there is every chance that parking will overflow from that site onto neighbouring roads which were already suffering from commuter parking. The refuge car will not be the only vehicle having to reverse into that site, and in doing so impacting traffic flows on both sides of the road. That is not good, surely. Then there's the driver entering that complex, only to find the only solution to come out is to reverse out. Once again, that can be very good, reversing onto the station road. I asked the committee to review the car parking arrangements within the site. Residents will almost certainly have visitors, family, doctors, health workers, etc. The impact of the building is another issue, and I shall leave that to my colleague, Councillor Boyce. I asked the committee to look carefully at the layout of Station Road, car parking within the site, location of that entrance, the impact of the building, and most importantly, the reversing arrangements within the site. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Councillor. Dave, there are a number of highway bits and pieces in that conversation. Can you comment, please, particularly about the Hampshire Highways audit on the site?
Yes, as far as that's concerned, we asked the applicants' agents to carry out a road safety audit, stage 1 road safety audit of the access, because there will be a need for a Section 278 agreement to cover the construction of the access, although it's in fact virtually at the same position as the current commercial access parking area. I think this has to be sort of be a matter of looking at what's there at present and what's there in the proposal. At present you have, I think, 4 car parking spaces directly off Station Road which don't have turning, and therefore those vehicles either have to reverse in that position or reverse out at that position. And with the proposal, other than very large commercial vehicles which are most unlikely to be needing to come in, and refuse vehicles which will have to reverse into the site, there should be no other obstructions to flow on Station Road. Whereas at present, as was shown on photographs, there is deliveries taking place from Station Road, and those vehicles have to be half on, half off the carriageway to do that delivery, which obstructs pedestrians and the flow of traffic on Station Road. So in those terms, the proposal to have an access, which is a 2-way access with a generous southern radius to allow vehicles to leave Station Road without having to brake hard. They will have to decelerate, but we consider that that's an acceptable arrangement to have a 2-way access at that point, where every vehicle leaving will be able to leave Station Road and stand clear of the carriageway. As far as safety is concerned, we've looked into that, and we've found that over a 5-year period there's been, I think, 3 accidents within 50 metres of the access, and they're all on the entry to the roundabout, on Station Road, on the entry to the roundabout. One involving a rear shunt, which often happens at roundabouts, and the other 2 were vehicles entering the roundabout when there wasn't sufficient space with cars approaching, so there was they failed to stop effectively on the approach to the roundabout. So there's been no accidents in the vicinity of the Merjen site in the last 5 years. As far as queuing on Station Road is concerned, there will be no change other than there will be a benefit, as I see it, because there won't be commercial vehicles parking on Station Road. That they would be parking, there wouldn't be those vehicles generated by misuse. So I think overall we're satisfied that it's a safe situation, and the safety audit has clearly demonstrated that to Hampshire's satisfaction.